Everybody, I'm Tony, and when trying to buy a battery grip for my Sony a6400, I couldn't really find any reviews for the Vello battery grip. Most of the videos I found online or reviews were regarding the Mikey battery grip. So I purchased both, and let's see which one is better over the other and see which one I'll end up returning. Okay, so the Sony a6400 is my main camera. It's what I've used for the past 4 quinceañeras and, well, half of a wedding. Although it was weird to record just half of a wedding and not a full wedding, what I realized is that the Sony 6400, even though it's a really great overall camera, the battery isn't as great. It dies kind of quickly. At 4K 30 frames per second, I was able to record basically the whole ceremony, but I let it go on longer just to see how long it would actually last, and it lasted up to 1 hour and 30 minutes. So the best modification for this camera would be buying a battery grip. So on the left, I have, well, you're right, I have the Meike MK-A6300 Pro battery grip. And on the right, I have the Vello BG-S4? Yeah, S4-2. Both of these battery grips support the Sony a6300 and 6500, but there is a size difference with the 6500. My main concern with the battery grips would be whether or not the 6400 would overheat. Theoretically, it shouldn't cause the camera to overheat, at least it should help it, or yeah, help it preventing from overheating quickly, just because rather than all the heat from the electrical conduction within the body of the camera itself, that's now taking place externally. But of course, you still have the actual connection to the battery and the body itself. So I guess in general, it would just be affected the same way as you having a normal battery inside the camera. And in many of the tests that I had, that did appear to be the case. I tested it in 60-degree temperatures, 75 and 85-degree temperatures. But of course, your mileage will vary depending on your location, time of day, and overall temperature of the time you're using them. You can't really use the dummy batteries from one of the battery grips on the other battery grip, just because in Velo's case, the conduction points or the battery, I guess, what would you call them? Just the actual connector pins. They're a little bit thicker, which doesn't fit on the Mikey battery grip. The Velo dummy battery is a little bit lighter, but it does seem a lot more solid on the Mikey side. It seems like you wouldn't be... Yeah, there it goes. The dummy battery on Mikey's side appears to be made a lot better. Seems more dense and just overall more solid in comparison to the Velo one, which feels more empty, more hollow. Both of the battery grips on the top side have a 1/4-inch thread for you to thread into your camera. They both have a dial for you to adjust the tightness from the camera to the battery grip. On the bottom of the battery grips, you have another 1/4-inch for you to add your quick release plates or just any other accessory. On the right side of both of the battery grips, you have, I think it's almost like a 1.5 millimeter thread, which is for you to connect the cable that comes with both of these battery grips to the Sony 6400 or 6300. That way you can use the external shutter button that is located on both of these grips. On the right side of the battery grip, you have the little hole. That way you can add a wrist strap. So I guess it'd be a wrist strap holder. And I guess that would be most of the similarities, other than the minute ones, which would be like these small concavities, just for you to hold your thumbs and fingers when taking pictures vertically, which both of them are a little bit different. Right, so to be able to use one of the battery grips, take out the normal battery you have inside, insert the dummy one, and then allow the little battery door cable or little, I don't know what you would call it. There's an extra little flap on the battery door itself. That way you can have that external connection to the battery grip. Let's put in the battery grip itself. We're starting off with the Meike 63 Pro, or the Meike 6300 Pro. So the Meike 6300 Pro was acquired from Amazon, and this one's the one that feels like it was intentionally made for the 6300 or the Alpha line, since it works with the 6500 and 6000 as well. it feels like there's a tighter fit between the body of the camera and the grip itself. When you turn the dials, there doesn't seem to be much flexibility between the camera and the battery grip, so that's good. On the back of the Mikey battery grip, you actually have an on and off switch, which is an additional good feature, just in case you don't want your batteries to get drained just from being idle for too long. On the left side, the way you open the door is pick up a small little flap on the door release itself, twist it, and then pull. So the first battery that gets drained is the one that's closest to the battery door itself. So it's also indicated by a number 1. And then the second battery to get drained will be this one on the back. So with the batteries in here, the camera feels good. And you have a small little holder for your pinky, although it doesn't seem to be that much. In comparison to the upper side of the camera, it's not exactly flush, so your pinky's kind of on the edge. But it's still better than your pinky just hanging off of the camera itself. My hand wraps around this battery grip pretty normally, and if I wanted to take vertical pictures, index finger falls perfectly flush with their cutout for the shutter release button, and my thumb fits perfectly fine on the back. The Mikey battery grip is a lot like the texture that you have on the 6400 compared to the texture on the Mikey grip. The grip texture is a lot more grippy, so you just have a better hold of your camera. When touching the shutter just to be able to select autofocus or choose your focusing points, it feels a little bit mush-like. You could easily end up just going a little bit too far and pressing the shutter all the way through in comparison to like if you were pressing the normal camera one. It does feel easily to push in like the camera, but it is a bit mushy to the point where you might overpress and just take the picture rather than grab your focusing points. And you do have a small little audible clicking noise. The Mikey battery grip was acquired from Amazon, and I think it's about $60. I'll put the correct price on the screen, but yeah, you can find the link for it down below if this one's the one that interests you. One of the downsides on the Mikey battery grip, in my opinion, is being able to take out the batteries. The first battery is pretty easy. You just pull back and it comes out easily. But this one in the back sometimes has issues just popping out for some reason. At times when I just pop it out, it like jumps out. So yeah, it's kind of odd. But for some reason right now it's not wanting to jump out. It's camera shy. And sometimes when inserting the battery holder itself, you can end up like not putting it correctly and it just won't go in all the way. And you have to basically make sure it's all the way down low, that way it fits in properly. Alright, so switching on to the Vello battery grip. This one, the battery door, as soon as you flip it, or I guess yeah, just turn it, it'll pop out automatically, which is nice. And also there's a little lever for you. That way when you pull it, it just springs out. So I kind of prefer that method just because it makes it easier to take out. And batteries, they just slide in. These two have their numerical indication at the bottom of the grip, just so you know battery 1 and battery 2. And when you push it in, you get that satisfying little click letting you know it's all the way in. So on this battery grip, one of the additional features that I like that this one includes that unfortunately the Mikey one doesn't, is that it has a micro USB port on the right or on the left side of the battery grip itself, which allows you to charge the batteries inside the battery grip. But yeah, you'll be able to charge both batteries inside the battery grip without actually having to take out the batteries from the grip itself. And there's also an LED indicator, red telling you both batteries aren't done fully charging, and once both of them are done charging, the LED indicator will indicate green. The shutter button on this battery grip is a lot better just because it has more of a 2-click feeling, so which makes it a lot easier to be able to tell when you're racking focus, and then once you fully press the shutter all the way down, since it has a louder click, it just feels a lot better. But to be able to hold the camera vertically, the Vello one is more plastic. It's not really rubber, so it does feel a lot harder. Between these two, the grip feels much better on the Mikey one than this Vello one. And also the concavities for your fingers The one on the Velo is more flush with the camera body itself, so your pinky kind of rests more naturally. And vertically, the placement of the shutter button isn't as ergonomic as the Mikey one. So in that regard, the Mikey one is a lot better. The only issue with its size comes from when trying to access the ports on the side. The battery door doesn't open all the way. There's kind of a bit of friction that prevents you from opening the door as soon as you release it from its hold. But nothing that obstructs your ability to be able to use them. You just kind of manually have to flip it open. Alright, so both of these battery grips last or cause they don't cause the overheating of the camera, but they allow the camera to record for a lot longer period of time. But both of these cameras were having issues when recording at 75 degrees or 85 degrees, overheating at around 40 minutes. The issue doesn't come from the battery grip itself, but in certain situations I found that the Velo battery grip lasted a few minutes longer than the Mikey battery grip. So I don't know if that was just like some error from the 3 different tests I had, but the Velo one did appear to last a little bit longer. The Velo battery grip is a lot lighter than the Mikey one, but the Mikey one feels a lot more robust. It feels like it was made a lot better than the Velo one. However, if I was to choose one of these 2 battery grips, I think I would go with the Velo one for my personal needs. The feature that Velo's battery grip has of the micro USB being able to charge the 2 batteries inside the battery grip gives me more of a sense that this is made for videographers in comparison to the Mikey one being more like for photography. And the additional reason that the Mikey battery grip makes me feel like it's more towards photographers is that it comes with this wireless remote. The shutter on the remote feels a lot more like the one on the camera, where it's a lot more smooth and just natural like. But yeah, the Mikey battery grip comes with the remote. That way you can take pictures from far away if you're not like directly right behind the camera, as well as adjust different settings with the dials and the buttons found on the remote. But it's just not something I ever used. But it comes with this. Even though it's cheaper, the Mikey battery grip feels a lot more, it feels like it's constructed a lot better, as well as it comes with the wireless remote for you to be able to use from a distance. Between these 2 battery grips, I'm going to keep the Velo one. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to return the Mikey one because for my needs, I don't know. It's just, I do more videography things, so having a better grip isn't going to help me as much as being able to charge the batteries externally or through micro USB from the battery grip itself. So yeah, if you have any questions regarding either of the 2 battery grips, just leave your questions down below and I'll try and answer them. Other than that, that's basically it for this video. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one. That's a cut.